Hey, everyone, it's John Covey. Right, okay, so like last time, I'm not going to stop and say hi to everyone that comes on. So I'll just say hi now. Do leave me a comment and say hi in the comments. And like the last video that I did, I'll put at the end in the comments a link to one of these templates that you can use to sketch and plan this out that I'm talking about as well. So what am I talking about today? I'm talking about 3 things that I found over the last 10 years for my own business, 20 years for 10 years working with clients and 20 years in my own businesses. These 3 things are what I consider fundamental to making your business a success. And if you get these right, things go really well. If you don't, you tend to be working with clients that's not a good fit. You tend to be, bending over backwards, dropping your pants on the pricing. And life just gets a little bit challenging. You work a lot of hours and you don't really enjoy it. So I find that if we get these 3 areas, I'll write these down now. So the first one is leads. If you don't have consistent leads coming into your business is going to always be a challenge. You're always going to be hunting and trying to land grab anything that you can get on if you don't know how to kind of produce consistent leads. The next thing is sales. If you don't know how to then take them leads rather, and convert them into paying customers, it's always going to be a challenge. You're going to just take what's left rather than taking what you really want. And then the final one is belief. If you don't really believe in what it is that you're doing, it's always going to be hard for you to follow up with people. And what I mean by follow up with people, I mean things like, asking them to make a decision, not pushing them into a corner, but you basically being in a place where you're not scared to get rejection, or you're not worried about if you look desperate. You just go because you know that there's an obligation and a duty to help them people if you can. So to get these 3 things clicking, I find there's a few things that you can do. I'm just going to share these few things with you now. So the first thing is, and you've probably heard this a million times, is you need to know really, really clearly who your ideal customer profile, your ICP. You probably heard this a million times and you probably brushed it off. It's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it's really important for you to understand exactly who you're targeting, because if you don't, it's hard for you to put the right message in front of the right person at exactly the right time. So you need to make sure that you spend some time on your ICP. The next thing that you need to do is you need to find a way to generate a consistent amount of traffic. If you don't know how to produce attention and grab attention and get traffic to your website, to your socials, to wherever it may be, then again, you're living on hope. You're hoping that someone's going to see that LinkedIn post at the right time. You're hoping that someone's going to read that email at the right time. You're hoping that somebody's just going to stumble up onto your website and say, hey, you look really good. Can you help me? And hope's just not a great game. It's certainly not a good way to build your business. So you need to find a way to get consistent traffic. And I'm not talking about going networking. I'm not against networking. I think networking is really, really good. It's where I started initially, or one of the places that I started initially. But networking is not very scalable in terms of how you can grow your traffic. So it's about understanding where you're going to get that from. One of the things I did in the early days, I blogged a lot. And my grammar was terrible, but it got better over time. What you need to do is find a way to drive that traffic somewhere to get that lead. So this is where you're going to use a conversion. So what is it that you're going to use to convert those visitors, that traffic, into a potential lead? Now, for me, I use a lead magnet. A lead magnet could be a video, it could be a PDF downloadable guide, it could be like an email series. There's loads of different ways that you can convert that traffic into a lead, but you need to have something. If you don't, and you're running ads, or you're spending time on SEO or PPC or whatever it is, and you're sending them nowhere other than just buy my product, it's going to be very difficult, because you're taking someone that's cold or doesn't know anything about you, that you don't really have any affinity with, and saying, buy my stuff. So a really good conversion tool helps. The next thing is when it comes to converting those leads, I'm just putting my mics back together. If you want to convert those leads, then the next thing that you want to do is make sure that you have a very clear, if my pen works, very clear offer. If you don't have a very clear offer for somebody, it's going to be really hard for them to say yes to you. So if you don't know what it is that you're going to give them, what it's going to cost, what's the commitment from them, what's the commitment from you, all these different things, it's going to be really hard, because people's going to say, oh, I like what you're saying. I've downloaded your guide or your tool or whatever it may be. This looks like something that can work for me. How do I get it? And you're like, oh, well. So you've got to get really clear on what that actually is, so that you know how to present it to them, to make sure that it can fit for them and you will enjoy working with them, but you've got to have an offer. The next thing that you need to have is a very clear script, because again, if you don't have the right words to say, what you'll probably find yourself doing, and this is again from experience, is you'll just start waffling. about everything that's not important to them, but everything that you think they need, not what they actually want. So if you have a good script, a solid script, it helps you to make sure that you communicate in a way and direct that conversation that's important for them, not necessarily just for yourself. And then a system. So if you don't have a good system that's going to allow you to do some of the automation, do some of this heavy lifting for you so that you don't have to be the person that's doing everything. You have a system that does some of this for you as well. You put all this together and you've got a really good system and an operating system that makes your business run almost on autopilot in many places. Then it comes to the belief. Now, I find that one of the best ways for you to have a good belief is to have a plan. Now, I know that over the years, a lot of people have bashed business plans. And I have as well, because I think a lot of the time a business plan is good for two things. It's good for if you want to raise money or you want to ask your bank manager for a loan. Usually that's all it comes down to. But a plan is important. It doesn't necessarily have to be a full in-depth, market research, in-depth plan. At the early stages, I definitely think it's worthwhile doing that at some point. But when you're just trying to get off the ground and get some revenue, 5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand a month, then you need to just get going and you need to make sure that you're going in the right direction, because there's nothing worse than running fast in this direction when what you really want is over in this direction. So it is important to have a plan, just not necessarily a really in-depth plan just right from the start. Also, I find that once you start to have a plan, what tends to happen is you become really confident. And this is something I've seen happen over and over again with the clients I work with. They get clear about what they want. They know who the audience is. They know how to get traffic and convert it. And they know how to get that offer and sell it and talk to these people. Their confidence becomes so high that when it comes to them talking about how much it's going to cost, the investment, what needs to happen, they've got belief. That belief is hardwired into them because they're confident about that. And ultimately, when they get this final piece in place where they get some support, maybe that's a coach, maybe that's a peer-to-peer group, a community, some kind of mastermind, whatever it is, you get that all together and you got that support, you just become bulletproof. So here's what happens. If you put the ICP, the traffic, and the conversion together, what you'll find with that is you're going to get a way to get consistent. My writing's going to get really terrible now because I'm doing it really quick. Daily leads. If you get leads every single day into your business, and you know how to move this next stage, which is the offer, the script, and the system, you have a frictionless, let's see if I can write this down. You have a frictionless sales system. Sales system. And ultimately what that means is that you know that your business operates in a certain way. You know what to do at each stage of that lead being created, for that lead coming in, for creating traffic to convert it, send it to your conversion tool, what to say to them once they become a lead, and how to wrap it all together. You have a plan, you've got the confidence, you've got the right support in place, and ultimately what this creates for you is a place where you have a bulletproof mindset. And let's face it, there's a lot of talk about mindset for good reason. Mindset is ultimately important in business. I think it's probably one of the most important things. I think Tony Robbins said, success in your business, or even life for that matter, is 80%, 20% mechanics, 80% belief. If you get that in the mind, you can go there in the body. Cool, guys. Right. So that's out. That's about 10 minutes. I hope you're enjoying these little short snippets. If you want to find out more how to implement this into your business, at the end of the month on the 28th, I'm doing a free 60-minute online webinar that's going to break these areas, these things down into easy to implement systems that you can then take away and apply in your business. I'll put a link to the webinar. I know this is a template. I'll put this template. I don't think you need it, but I'll put a link to this template if you do want to use it, because it might help you. But I'll also put a link to register for the webinar. It'd be great to see you on the webinar. There's only 30 spaces available, so it's first come, first serve. It's going to be a real blast. It's only 60 minutes, and it's going to show you how we can break each of these systems and steps down into a way that you can implement into your business. But yeah, I'm John. See you next time.